all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them. The most perfect and precious Bodhi, all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi, all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. To the top of page 6. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood. For the sake of all wandering beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Bhadra Samaja, Bhadra Samaja, Bhadra Samaja. Protectors of all sentient beings without exceptions, deities who vanquish the ruthless hordes of Maras, knowers of everything as it is, Bhagavans and your retinues, please come here. Argyam padyam pushpe dupe aloke kende nivede shapta Pratitya soha, this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure realm. Whatever slight virtue that may have been gathered through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I now dedicate to complete Bodhi. Now please the general laying aside. Last great Guru, Vajra holder, and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who reside in the 10 directions and 3 times. I, who am called Gunja Yishi Durje, supplicate you turn your awakened attention to me. From beginningless samsaric time until this very moment, under the power of the afflictive emotions, attachment, aggression, confusion, pride, and jealousy, I have committed the 10 non-virtuous actions. Through the gates of my body, speech, and mind, I have committed the 5 heinous crimes and the 5 secondary heinous crimes. I have transgressed the individual liberation vows, transgressed the precepts of bodhisattvas, and transgressed the samayas of the great vehicle secret mantra. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards the 3 jewels. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my gurus and teachers. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my father and mother. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my companions in the pure spiritual life. I have abandoned the sublime dharma and disparaged the noble sangha. In short, I now lay aside all faults and transgressions whatsoever that have become obstacles to the higher realms and to liberation, and that have become the cause for samsara and the lower realms. Before you, the great Guru Vajra holder, and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 times, I expose the faults, I confess them, I am contrite, I regret them. I will not conceal them, I will not hide them. Henceforth, I will restrain myself and abstain from them. If I do not expose and lay them aside, they will not be transformed. Therefore, by revealing and laying them aside, may they be cleared, may I be purified. Namo to the mandala of you, victorious Idam deities. Om, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Vajra exalted body. Ah, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Padma exalted speech. Hung, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the perfect exalted mind. Hri, I expose and lay aside the broken root and branch samayas. I expose and lay aside transgression committed knowingly. I expose and lay aside transgressions committed unknowingly. The 3 non-virtues of the body, the 4 non-virtues of speech, the 3 non-virtues of the mind. I confess each of the 10 non-virtues individually, with faultless disciplined conduct, possessing completely pure disciplined conduct, and through the disciplined conduct that is free of arrogance, may the paramita of disciplined conduct be perfected. To glorious Vajrasattva I pay homage. Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya Bhasasata Denopa Tita Denomemo Sudokaya Memo Subokaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasita Memoja Samakama Suja. Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya. Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya Denomemo Sudokaya Subokaya. Manobalaya Bhasasata Denopa Tita Denomemo Sudokaya. Anurado Memo Savasita Memoja Samakama Suja Mejanam Guru Mahamudra. Sudo Gaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasita Memoja Samakama Suja Mejanam Guru Mahamudra. Bhadra Sattva Samaya. Dedo Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo. Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya Bhadra Denopa Dedo Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo. Sarvasida Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama Jabesimo Masamaya Sato Bhadra Sattva Samaya. Dida Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida Memo Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata. Sudokaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida Memo Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata. Dida Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida. Dedo Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida Memo Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama Jabesimo Masamaya. Bhadra Sattva Denopa Dedo. Chedamsre Anguru Hong Hao, Magamansa Vandaragata Besama Jabesimo Masamaya Sato, Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya. Manobalaya Bhadra Denopa Denopa Sudokama Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida. Sarva Siddhi Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama Jabesimo Masamaya Sato Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya Bhadra Denopa Denopa Sudokama Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama Jabesimo Masamaya Sato Bhadra Samaya Manobalaya. Sarva Siddhi Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama. Anurado Memo Savasida Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama. Bhadra Sattva Denopa Dedo Memo Vasudogaya Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo Savasida Mebaya Jasavagama. Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manobalaya Bhadra Denopa Dedo Memo Vasudogaya Memo Subogaya Memo Anurado Memo. Sarva Siddhi Mebaya Jasavagama Suja Mejanam Guru Hao Magaman Samandaragata Besama Jabesimo Mahasamaya Sato. Let the heaviness of these unskillful actions of body, speech, and mind sink down into the ground. Let the burden of these damage to your individual liberation vow, damage to your bodhisattva training, damage to secret mantra samayas, let that burden be put aside. Let them sink to the ground. Develop appreciation and gratitude to all those who have been kind to us in all the different ways. Our parents of this lifetime, siblings of this lifetime, friends and relatives, our spiritual guides, the lineage masters that came before these spiritual guides, all those who uphold and upheld the Buddha's teachings so that they exist today. Rejoice in that brightness, rejoice in that good. Let that rejoicing be the way of putting aside, on the other hand, the ways in which we have harmed our relationship to that. Praying to Guru Vajrasattva, the embodiment of all peaceful, wrathful deities, none other than our root Guru. There is an account, a story about, I think, I want to say that it was about Che Rinpoche, Lama Tsongkhapa, founder of the Gelug. But I don't think it was him. I think maybe I misremembered. Perhaps it was one of the great Drupakagyu, lamas of the past. Anyway, the account said that when this Drupakagyu Lama, I think it was a Drupakagyu Lama, was practicing like in a formal way, practicing Guru Yoga. And so the instruction he got from his teacher, his guide, is that he should think of like as he visualized Guru Vajradhara. So in this case, Guru Vajrasattva. As he visualizes, as he imagines, as he feels, as he brings into his mind, bring the presence of this Guru into his space. His teacher told him that he should really think of all the teachers that have taught him. Of course, this person probably grew up in a monastery, and in the monastery, somebody teaches you this, somebody teaches you that. Somebody taught you philosophy, somebody taught you, rituals, somebody taught you this, somebody taught you that. And then, of course, eventually now, whoever was guiding his more inner practices, obviously that person, he and it says, you should dissolve as a method. You should think, all of this is embodied by this one figure of Vajradhara. So it said that he practiced this great Lama, well, eventually became great Lama, that he practiced this, and he practiced. But in those days, instead of counting, how many mantras you have chanted of a particular practice, it seemed like it was more common for them to engage in a specific practice for a period of time until some signs, some dreams, some vision has occurred. And you report this sign, this vision to your guide, and the guide will then, decide and say, yes, okay, this is a good sign. It means, something has taken, some effect has arisen from your practice of this or that practice. And then now you can do the next set. But it said that for a long while, there wasn't any dreams, there wasn't any vision, there wasn't any signs that the guide would approve and say, yes, now you have a taste now of this Guru Yoga, and you can move on, to the next set of practices. So the guide kept helping this practitioner like to figure out, what he may not be doing right in this practice of Guru Yoga. So the guide kept saying to the person doing the practice, that there must be someone, that you have failed to bring to mind as you think of the Guru. You must have left somebody out, So I said to him, carefully you have to review whichever Guru Lama you receive any teaching from, even just 4 lines of a text. Of course, those you have received empowerment from, those you have received this and that, but that this guide said, including even those who you have just happened to sit there and listen to them teach, you have to bring that person to mind and think they are now embodied by Vajradhara. And so then the practitioner went back and did that again. Nothing. Finally, the practitioner remembered, and he said to his guide, actually, there is one person. Do I also dissolve and think of this person and dissolve into this image, this visualization of Guru Vajradhara? And the guide said, the retreat guide said, "Well, who are you talking about?" He said, when first my parents dropped me off at the monastery, the 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 monk who worked in the kitchen, he taught me how to read, to recognize the Tibetan alphabet, ka ka ga nga. Then the guide said, yes, that person is probably where your Guru Yoga is incomplete. And so then, the practitioner started to recall the kindness of this monk who worked in the kitchen, who took time to teach him how to read the Tibetan alphabet. And he said that not long after doing this, the science was received. And then, the retreat guide said, you are good now, now you have not left any of them out. So, when we think, like Guru Vajradhara, this should not be some kind of popularity contest, This is my guide, that is your guide. If we do that, and then if we dismiss, those whom we said, I didn't really learn anything from, and then it may become an obstacle, a block. Because, again, when we talk about the Guru, we're not just talking about one person. So that's really important to understand. We're not talking about just one person, although specific persons become the reference point. So Kyabje Gachen Rinpoche always say, don't think of, because of course, many people think of Rinpoche as their guru, as their root guru. To have such kind of guru in the world is a great blessing. So many people think of themselves, think of Gachen Rinpoche, Kyabje Gachen Rinpoche, as their guru. But Rinpoche himself always said to them, remind them, but don't think of me as a specific person, but that you should think, all the gurus that you have had, whether as simple as, a talk that you attended, a teaching that you received in one form or another, think of all of them as embodied. He says, because of our karmic connections, you have faith in me, you have trust in me. But the Guru is not just a person. In other words, the Guru is a principle. But the principle that is the principle of the teacher, the guide. So as I've said before, the greatest title in the Buddhist tradition, the greatest title for the Buddha, the most important title for the Buddha, or other than Buddha, is the guide, Tumpa in Tibetan, Tumpa, the guide. I mean, it translates simply as the guide, the teacher, and then maybe T with a capital T, G with a capital G. It's a different word from Lama, Guru, is Tumpa. Tumpa is almost exclusively used only in reference to Buddha Shakyamuni. And that's how significant that word is. And I said, this is the equivalent of the highest word Christians have for Jesus is, right, the Savior, the Messiah. But in that system, they believe that the world and everyone is in need of a Savior. In our system, we say that the world and everyone is in need of a faultless guide, a Tumpa. So the Tumpa Shakyamuni. So the guide is the most important principle. So when we say Guru here, we are talking about this principle. Then this becomes a method to guide us into our own pristine nature, the ultimate guide. The ultimate guide is our own pristine mind, nature of our own minds. Right now, no direct access to that yet, because it's being covered by layers and layers of confusion. So in the next of the Fivefold Path after Idam is to cultivate devotion towards this principle, towards this Guru. In the traditional, meaning traditional as in what people now are doing when they say they practice the Fivefold Mahamudra, they use the practice text of Drigong Choki Drakpa, the first Chungsang Rinpoche, 17th century, and the 21st throne holder of Drigong Kagye. Also the name, our group is Kenshin Koncho Gyaltsen Rinpoche gave this group name Drigong Dhammakirti. He gave this in 2004, 2005. This is as far back as it has gone. In 2004, 2005, Rinpoche gave when I first moved to North Carolina, and I said, there's a very small group of people who are coming to my cabin on Saturdays to practice together. And Rinpoche said, Dhammakirti is a good name for this group. And so then years later, now we have DDIS as a group. And some of you are regulars there. And DDIS, Drigong Dhammakirti International Sangha. Make it sound fancier. So Drigong Dhammakirti is really influential in the big picture of like the history of the lineage. After Jigten Sumgen, I would say, in terms of how influential his compositions, his arrangements of practices are, I think in terms of that, actually, frankly, we don't practice because Jigten Sumgen himself did not arrange these practices that we know today. Anyway, in the main, which is called the Drigong Dhammakirti Shelung, which is the words of Dhammakirti, which is the name of a specific text, which is the main Fivefold Mahamudra text that is used in the lineage. Now, of all the sections, the Fivefold Mahamudra, well, there's the preliminary, and preliminary is taking 100,000 prostration. 100,000 doesn't mean 100,000. It's 11111. 111,111. Refuge recitation with prostration. 111111. Vajrasattva. So just shorthand, we call it 100,000. 100,000 mandala offering. 100,000 Guru Yoga, that particular prayer, 100,000. Then in the context of mandala offering, each mandala offering comes with a prostration. So 111,111. Now 222,222 prostrations are done when you finish mandala. Then Guru Yoga recitation, and then special bodhicitta, first meditating on love, then meditating on compassion, and then the bodhicitta generation mind, and that another 100,000 prostrations there. Then idam, which is a million of Heruka mantra. But the longest part is the Guru Yoga section, because now they practice the Guru Yoga section as the 4 Kayas Guru Yoga. Nirmana Guru Yoga, Sambhoga Kaya Guru Yoga, Dharmakaya Guru Yoga, and Swabhavika Kaya Guru Yoga. The longest it takes, because each of these has 100,000 repetitions of specific prayers. And some of the prayers are really long. So this is how long it takes. We tend to think, oh, what comes up in the heart is most real. What comes up in the heart is mostly spontaneously comes up, is mostly determined by unreliable factors. Come and go, come and go, come and go. The tradition trusts repetition to wear down, basically. And so there is, a method there, at least starting from the 17th century, emphasizing these repetitions. Of course, mindless repetitions, you become like a parrot. Parrots do not achieve Buddhahood as parrots. But if you know how to engage the method, the repetition is to wear down, to purify, to clear our all these patterns of thinking, patterns of behavior, needs to be worn down. I think even in the Christian tradition, but the modern period, I think, is so much influenced by kind of a Protestant kind of way of thinking, even among Catholics, especially American Catholics. And then now, of course, in the evangelical, what they call the non-liturgical tradition. So everything is just, whatever comes up in the mind, whatever comes up in the heart in that moment, And so no appreciation for the old liturgies, the old traditions. I think we as a culture, this modern culture, we prioritize the feeling. And so then if it doesn't come from here immediately, we don't trust, We don't trust the possibility of working on something and growing strength from there. Same, like with then ideas of love, falling in love, whatever comes, that's it. Then, of course, 4 marriages later, 3 alimonies hanging around. We're still looking to just madly fall in love, Not that I'm advocating going back to arranged marriage, but something to be said about working on something, because there's a deeper recognition that that's worth it. So anyway, we will dwell still on this idam section a little bit. So yes, keep in mind, what we're doing here is not so much to say, when we finish, we have finished the Fivefold Mahamudra. But it's a way for us to gain some ideas, some hopefully some experiential idea what this Fivefold path is, what is the content, what is the flavor of this Fivefold Mahamudra. And so there's no, at all pretension that, when you have done this, you have done the Fivefold Mahamudra. So in fact, maybe ideally what happens, if you ask me, hey, what are you trying to achieve with this? Ideally, I think what happens is, after, if you stick around long enough and you actually go all the way to the end of this manual, and then after that, you will be inspired to do the practice in a much more focused way. Right now, it's actually very focused compared to what other people may be doing. Even, I would say, even the people who are committed to doing the 100,000s, they are not meeting, daily to receive these teachings, to look at these teachings in depth, to let time, kind of grow. So I think it's, having said, don't be arrogant about, I know the Fivefold. But I believe, I'm confident that if you stick with this till this end, you will experience the Fivefold path in a particular type of depth that others probably don't have. But then this is just a basis to work with. And then you go from there to further deepen and learn not to be so easily distracted by all the fanfare, all the fireworks in Dharma, not even outside of Dharma. There's so much, fanfare and fireworks that you need to learn how to navigate, So we'll focus a little bit more on the idam here before we go to the Guru Yoga section. The Guru Yoga section, just so you can anticipate this, in this manual, only has 3 kayas. And Swabhavika kaya, the 4th one, is not in here. Only the 3 kayas. Nirmana kaya, Sambhoga kaya, and Dharma kaya. So from the perspective maybe of later tradition, it's not so complete. And so they supplement, they add. But here only 3 kayas. So anyway, please turn to page 25 of the manual. We'll use the first of the 2 emptiness mantra. Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddho Hang. Think that all phenomena are by nature completely pristine, the emptiness of apprehended and apprehender only mind. Within From this state of emptiness, your own mind arises in the form of the syllable Hum, from which light radiates. From Yam comes a mandala of wind, from Ram a mandala of fire, from Vam a mandala of water, and from Lam a mandala of earth. Upon that from Sum comes Mount Meru. In nature, the four precious substances. Upon that from Pam comes a multicolored lotus. Upon that from Hung comes a cross Vajra set on the multicolored lotus. From the vowels comes a moon, from the consonants comes a sun. In the center of that light radiates from the letter Hung, clearing the obscurations of all beings and transforming them into the host of deities of Chakra Samvara. The light then gathers back and absorbs into the Hung, melting as bodhicitta. From this complete transformation in a single instant, you are Chakra Samvara. His body is dark blue, pure and luminous, like the color of a stainless sky. He has one face and 3 eyes with fangs slightly bared. His left leg is bent, pressing on the left ear of black Bhairava, and his right leg is extended, pressing between the breasts of red Kalaratri. With his 2 hands holding a Vajra and bell, he embraces the consort. His head is adorned with a cross Vajra and a top knot of matted hair tied with silk ribbons, beautified with a wish-fulfilling jewel. On the left side of his head he is adorned with a crescent moon. His forehead is adorned with a garland of Vajras and 5 dry skulls. A hanging garland of 50 fresh heads is strung on human intestines. He is adorned with the 6 mudras and wears a tiger skin skirt. He possesses the 9 dramatic sentiments: amorous, heroic, repulsive, humorous, wrathful, terrifying, compassionate, majestic, and peaceful. In his embrace is the consort Bhagavati, red in color with 1 face and 3 eyes, her fangs fully bared. Her hair is loose. She wears a crown of 5 dry skulls and a hanging garland of 50 bone ornaments and a girdle of bone ornaments. From below comes the tinkling sound of bells. With her 2 hands, the right holds a 5-pronged Vajra, and the left holds a skull cup of blood, with which she embraces and offers to the Lord. She is adorned with the 5 mudras, naked and in inseparable union with the Lord. Even though the text here says the right hand holds a 5-pronged Vajra, it could be a textual corruption, because we know from many sources it's a 5-pronged Vajra handled curved knife. So basically the implement in Varahi's right hand is a curved knife, but with the handle that is a 5-pronged Vajra. So you could say the right holds a 5-pronged Vajra handled curved knife. Or really, it's a chopper. It's a butcher's chopper. By the symbolic action of blazing rays of light from the Hung at his heart, the hosts of deities of the Chakra Samvara Mandala are invited from their natural abodes. Now we'll make the 16 offerings. Vine is the goddess holding the flute or the lute. this wind instrument. Vamse, vamshe, she, vamshe is, vine is the string instrument. The vina is a string instrument. The goddess of the arts, Saraswati, holds a veena, plays a veena. It's a string instrument that you lay across your lap, kind of big. Vamshe is the lute. Mridange is a big drum. Muraje are these two smaller drums made of clay pot. You could say they're clay pot drums. Hashi, Hashi is called the goddess of laughter. You could say like the dramatic art. Lashi is the goddess of dance, but this is like more like because there's another dance later, nritya. Nritya is the kind of dance that is more about telling stories. Lashi, this dance is more, maybe you could say, modern dance. Just the beauty and the purpose of the dance is the enjoying of the movement of the form, and the graceful form or whatever form, but not necessarily connected to some story, some narrative, which is nritya. Gite is the goddess of song. Gite. So like maybe you've heard of Bhagavad Gita, the song of the Lord. Bhagavad is Bhagavan, the song of the Lord. Gita is songs. Pushpe, the goddess of flower. Dupe, goddess of incense. Dipe, goddess of light. Gende, goddess of perfumery. Rupa Bhajra is forms. Rase, taste. Sparshe, touch. And Dharma Dhatu is the Dharma realm. The Dharma Dhatu is, you could say, phenomena. In a way, the 16th covers all the other experiences. And so these are the 16 goddesses. Om Bajra Bhine Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Bhamshe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Midange Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Muraje Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Hashe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Lashe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Gite Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Nritya Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Pushpe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Dupe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Dipe Hong Hong Pe Om Bajra Gende Hong Hong Pe Om Rupa Bajra Hong Hong Pe Om Rase Bajra Hong Hong Pe Om Sparashe Bajra Hong Hong Pe Om Dharma Dhatu Bajra Hong Hong Pe. Go back to page 29. Having made outer and inner offerings, recite Ja Hong Bam Ho, thereby hooking, drawing in, binding and pleasing them, making them one taste. Bless your crown with Om, your throat with Ah, and your heart with Hong. A white Om in the crown center, red Ah in the throat center, blue Hong in the heart center. Of both the male deity Heruka and the female deity Varahi. Again from the Hong light radiates, inviting the five families with their retinues, having met with their retinues. Again, the 16 offerings, this time to the deities that have arrived to give empowerments, the five families. Om Bhadra Bine Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Vamshe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Midange Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Muraje Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Hashe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Lashe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Gite Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Nritye Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Pushpe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Dupe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Deepe Hong Hong Pe, Om Bhadra Gende Hong Hong Pe, Om Rupa Bhadra Hong Hong Pe, Om Rase Bhadra Hong Hong Pe, Om Sparishe Bhadra Hong Hong Pe, Om Dharma Dhatu Bhadra Hong Hong Pe. Back to page 30. Having made inner offerings, pray, may all you Tathagatas bestow empowerment. Having prayed thus, they bestow empowerment with Sarva Tathagata Abhishekata Samaya Shriye Hum. Your entire body is filled with wisdom elixir. The excess liquid gathers firmly on top of your head, and Akshobhya seals your crown. So Akshobhya is the lord of the family of the male deity, Heruka. And Vairochana is the lord of the family of the female deity, Varahi. Like a rainbow cultivate the Idam's colors as distinct. Like a reflection in the mirror, the appearance is clear, sharp, like the moon's reflections in all bodies of water, and see this form as all pervasive. Remember the main branch, the main trunk, not main branch, but actually the main trunk, the main body of Idam practice is to cultivate clarity, recollect purity, stabilize divine pride. You can say that these three things, the first one, has more to do with the powers of shamatha. Recollecting purity has more to do with understanding, special insight, so vipassana. And divine pride is the union of shamatha vipassana. Resting in the certainty of the mind being Buddha and the appearance being Buddha. Then to gain some familiarity with how to do mantra recitation as a branch rather than the main trunk of Idam practice, with regards to mantra recitation as a branch of Idam practice, then from Gyalpa Rinpoche's pith instructions on the co-emergent Chakkasamvara from his collected teachings, he gives this basic visualization, he says, that we should work with. So when we recite the heart essence mantra of the male deity, then bring your focus to the blue home in the center of your heart. Surrounding this is the mantra of the male deity, Om Hri Ha Ha Hong Hong Pe. This mantra in 7 syllables. Arrange. So this Hong is resting on a moon disk in the center of your heart. Sorry, the disk is actually sun disk. The Om in the center of the crown is a moon disk. The Hong in the center of your heart is resting on the sun disk. Then on the periphery of this disk is where the mantra Om Hri Ha Ha Hong Hong Pe is arranged. And they are arranged so that they are looking towards the Hong at the center. So they are looking inwards and they are arranged clockwise. But when we recite the mantra and visualize this garland, this string of lights, white lights coming out, this string of white light that comes out is turning counterclockwise. As it turns counterclockwise, think of these, the mantras themselves don't move necessarily, but the lights that issue from the mantra comes out as a chain of light that move counterclockwise, then travel up the central channel, come out of Heruka's right nostril, and the minute it comes out of the right nostril, it pervades in all directions, transforming all the physical universe into the Pure Land of Chakkasamvara, into Kechari. And all the beings of this universe are turned into the deities of the Chakkasamvara Mandala. And then all this, the light that went out is reabsorbed and again in the form of a chain that enters Heruka's left nostril, go back down the central channel and dissolving into the Hong syllable, blue in color. And again, another chain of light, white light comes out through the right nostril, So this is the basic part one of this basic visualization. There's a second part to this. But before we go to the second part, we should familiarize with this first part. So first work on this visualization, and then when you are somewhat familiar with this visualization, no more hesitating, no more like, oh, is it this way or is it that way? Then you can recite the mantra. But don't let the mantra recitation deteriorate into a mindless recitation. You should anchor the verbal recitation with this movement of light. Hri ha ha hum hum pe Hri ha ha 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 hum pe Hri ha Hri ha Om Bhadra Bharojaniye Hum Hum Pe Om Bhadra Bharojaniye Hum Hum Pe Om Bhadra Bharojaniye Hum Hum Pe Bhadra Sada Samaya Mandabalaya Bazana Dena Badida Dena Memo Sutaka Memo Subaya Memo Anarato Memo Sabazeta Memanja Sabakamasu Jaman Guru How Bhagavan Sabandana Gata Besama Jabesibo Mahasamaya Santo Bhadra Sada Samaya Mandabalaya Bajra sato teno padita, deda memo, suto kaya memo, supo kaya memo, anano to memo, sava sene memo, jasa makama suja menjanam janam gurung, hao, makaman samantara kata besama memo, jambe sebo, maha samaya sato, bajra sato samayam, nanu balaya, bajra teno padita, deda memo, suto kaya memo, supo kaya memo, anano to memo, sava sene memo, jasa makama suja menjanam janam gurung, hao, makaman samantara kata besama memo, jambe sebo, maha samaya sato. Gently release this visualization of Jagasamvara. Then please go to page 78 for the dedication. By the virtues collected in the three times by me in the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtues, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Changju Sem Chorim Poche Ma Ge Banam Ge Gyurche Ge Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Yang Go Ne Gong Du Bel Wan Shu. Okay.